Okay, now I get to say hi. Hi, everyone. So, this is Screen Heroes, and we're a live podcast, and you know the deal because this is our big Civil War one where we're giving you free stuff, so we should have triple our viewers. That sounded petty. I'm Ray.
It's not just about the viewers.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Well, maybe a little bit.
And with me, as always,
as per the usual. Yeah,
as
say
per
how
usual,
you'd like.
whatever. It's Ryan.
Hello.
And this is our first time guest, Robert.
Hey.
So you guys pumped about Civil War?
Yeah, definitely.
Wow, we just said the same thing simultaneously. That was awkward. Yeah. I'm always pumped about Marvel movies.
You guys should remake Face Off. That would be awesome.
I'm good. Thank you, though. I'm kind of attached to mine.
No, you're totally a Nick Cage.
I mean, I understand that for sure, but I still don't want my face removed.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I gotta back him up on that.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, since you guys are no fun, let's get down to business.
Let's. Civil War.
Okay, so overall, what did you guys think about the movie? Overall impression.
Overall?
Yeah, how'd you walk out of the theater?
I mean, I walked out of the theater very, very happy. We saw it for the first time 3 weeks or 4 weeks or something before the movie came out. And obviously it was kind of annoying because none of us could really talk about it with anybody because nobody else had seen it. But
we abide by the no spoiler rules.
Yeah, we were big believers in that. Speaking of which, there's going to be spoilers. So either mute it and keep watching or just keep watching and don't mute it because we love our voices. But I mean, when I saw it the first time, I was very excited, and it lived up to the expectations I had set for it. Seeing it the second time was better because I caught a lot of the things that I didn't catch the first time, and I encourage you to go see it a second time if you liked it the first time because you'll probably pick up on a lot of little things that you might have missed.
Okay.
And it makes the movie a better experience, I think. So.
Okay.
But yes, I was very happy with it.
How about you?
No, I thought it was great. I was actually. I got to admit, I had some reservations. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Because I've heard rumors. Well, what's going to happen to Captain America? But I mean, with how everything worked out, I thought it was great. I thought it was one of the better Marvel movies so far.
Okay.
What about you?
I was a little conflicted. There were certain aspects of it I just flat out didn't like, and no movie is without fault. I think there are better Marvel movies. I don't think it was the end-all, be-all of the Marvel, but I rank it pretty high up because it still was a lot of fun. The story was pretty solid, and they keep improving upon Cap's abilities. You know, I really felt in the first one they didn't quite understand what all the super soldier serum could do, and the Russo brothers really got the idea that we have to prove he is a superhuman and he can't just stand in like the middle of New York touching his ear without an earpiece saying close the gate.
Yeah, but Avengers is the best Marvel movie, right?
It's a good one. It's a good one.
It's good, yes. And I agree. There are always going to be faults in everything because nothing is ever going to be perfect for everybody.
Right.
So, I mean, well, I won't say it. But nothing's going to be really, truly perfect.
Right.
So there are going to be faults. And I definitely had some issues with a couple of things, but overall, I just thought it was a great movie, and I totally agree. The evolution of Captain America through the MCU has been awesome, really.
Captain America has always been one of my favorite superheroes, and I was nervous when I used to talk to my brothers about it when the first movie was announced, and we were all familiar with Captain America, and when they said they were going to bring him to the screen, we were like, well, he's going to look so cheesy, like kicking people really hard and like all this. And he kind of did in the first Avengers, or the first Captain America, the first Avenger, and then in the Avengers movie, I thought it was not done very well. I didn't think Joss Whedon really got the character.
Right. He's always written very intense, powered characters. Like, he was on the X-Men for a very long time, so he's used to working with intense visuals. To have a movie where 4 out of your 6 characters' powers are just punching really hard, then, somebody's going to get lost in the crossfire. Who's it going to be? The big brute you're doing mocap for, the giant god with the hammer, the dude with pulsar beams out of his hands, or, the one who throws a shield.
Yeah, except we had, very similar power levels in this movie, and the Russo brothers made it way better than I think the original Avengers. I told you guys before this movie that I think this is, even though it's a Captain America movie, and Derek will fight me on the fact that it's a Captain America movie, it is the best. It is better than the Avengers movies, and it's the best Avengers movie.
I'll give you Ultron. I'm not quite sure I'm ready to give up the first one yet, but I'll definitely give you better than Ultron.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that. Better than Ultron, and honestly, I've seen Captain America movies. Even the second Captain America movie was kind of like an offshoot Avengers movie, in that it's not really, I don't know, just Captain America alone doing his thing.
They have too many characters at this point. For me, I feel like you can't have a solo film anymore.
No. This is, really, they're all becoming so heavily linked. This really can't be considered truly just a Captain America storyline. Even though it was centered around Captain America and the Winter Soldier, and that they even titled it Civil War because it involved all the Avengers and some new ones.
But the story was still very much Captain America and Bucky's story, and I would argue a little bit Black Panther's story. But I don't think calling it an Avengers movie is a fair judgment.
I'm going to agree with that only because I really absolutely love Thor and Hulk, and I love their relationship. Okay. I'm excited to see the two of them in Ragnarok together because I thought they had an interesting bond both in the comics and the films. Yet I'm not going to call that an Avengers movie either. If you don't have all of them together in my book, it's not an Avengers movie just yet.
Everybody that was in Civil War has been on the Avengers at some point or another. So I think it was a fair argument, but having seen the movie, it's still definitely a Captain America movie.
Right.
Even without Thor and Hulk, it could be argued that it was an Avengers movie.
So we've already kind of talked about Captain, and we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of both Captain and Iron Man's character, I think, in a little bit. But let's talk about some of those side characters. Who are your favorites? Who do you think they could have left out or done a bit better with?
One thing about the Russo brothers that makes me really excited for Infinity War, that I think he does better than they do better than Joss Whedon, is that they really give each character their second to shine. No character really felt, for me, completely tacked on. They all got, Ant-Man had his, spoiler alert, giant man scene, and
and that was incredible.
Black Panther's fight with Captain America and his fight with Bucky, and Vision, getting to have a little, whatever it is with Scarlet Witch. Every character got their chance to shine a little bit, and even though it's a Captain America movie, the plate was spread to everybody, and they all got that chance, and it was nice to see Ant-Man and not have it be a joke, because I feel like even in his own movie, it was still kind of a joke the whole time. He was making train sets big, and it was fun. But in this movie, you see that he's a serious contender for power, and and you got that Black Panther as a dude in a suit, but it would have been hard for pretty much anybody in that group to take him out. I feel like, short of Scarlet Witch or Vision, but he's very powerful, and I think they did a good job giving everybody their chance to have glory in the movie.
How about you?
Yeah, and I totally agree with you on that. They all got their moment. Everybody did. But to play off of what you said earlier about Vision and Scarlet, I loved the interactions between the Avengers. A lot of just even small snippets reminded me of how the characters interacted with each other in the comics. They did a really good job on that. Like, spoiler alert, Ant-Man riding an arrow. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I was sitting there going, yes.
I mean, that's what we all dreamed of reading these comics, is that one day we'd see it, and we actually get to see scenes cropped out of our favorite issues and on the big screen.
Yeah, the end fight with Captain America and Iron Man is straight off with the slow-mo shield on the repulsor beam.
That was one of the covers
That's a cover,
from Civil War.
Well, probably the most famous cover from that storyline.
Aside from the one where Spider-Man unmasks.
That one's pretty popular too, but I would argue
that cost me a lot of money.
Those two are probably definitely the most popular.
Right.
And you even got an homage to that in the movie too, when you see him without his mask on, and that kind of messing with it. It kind of looks like that scene. So they really kind of covered their bases on those.
So I have to say my favorite storyline throughout the whole thing was actually Black Panthers, and it's because I didn't feel like it was bloated at all. They got his origin out of the way really fast, and they did it without skipping over anything important, without, I guess, overinflating the importance of the Black Panther to his tribe. I feel like now they get to explore that relationship further, as well as show how private and how important Wakanda is to the rest of the world. And he also was the only one in my mind whose intentions were pure the entire time. You know, he kept a sense of honor about him that he never let get clouded by personal reasons.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, Black Panther, he got some of the best development of any new character introduced in a movie, I think, in the Marvel series.
Widow hasn't gotten that treatment yet.
He was the only one that had real motivation for the things he was doing. Everybody else, like you said, his was pure. Everybody else, there was always going to be a personal thing along with it. And
not saying the death of his dad isn't personal. That
is personal, absolutely.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't know if I could definitely say he was totally pure because of that, because he was going after the Winter Soldier for his father.
Right.
I mean, that's why. I mean, that's not necessarily pure. He was dead set on killing the guy.
Yeah, but that's not based on the Accords, though. Like, he's not doing... Either Iron Man or Captain America were both doing what they were doing, either not signing or signing the Accords based on a personal thing, whereas Black Panther didn't care about the Accords, whether that didn't affect him signing it at all. I think that's where my issue was.
Okay, yeah, when it comes to the Accords, his
the actual
views on the support for the Accords. Now, as far as his motives for doing what he did throughout the movie, I don't know if you can necessarily call that pure.
You could justify it a little bit saying that the Winter Soldier has killed a lot of people, so he's just trying to end this terrorist, You
can, but still, his motives weren't just that. So I definitely get the argument that, but like I said, I don't know.
Okay.
I think the one... If you want to argue pure from my standpoint, I think it almost has to be Captain America because he never changes his stance throughout the entire movie. Mm-hmm. Never, not once. Even Iron Man wavers at the end when he starts helping.
Yeah.
Everybody changes at some point throughout the movie. So Captain America's the only one who doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay, well, one can argue Hawkeye doesn't, but...
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point. I think that there was still some selfish motivation, and maybe he was just stubborn, and that's why he didn't change. He did stick to his guard, or stick to his stance, and I mean that's great, and I think it's very Captain America-y of him. But I think it came from a place of selfishness, which is what kind of tarnished that for me a little bit.
Okay.
I saw a fantastic quote the other day. I'm going to steal it, and I'll credit it. John Holloway, thank you very much. Iron Man was doing the right thing for the very wrong reasons. They were incredibly selfish. He didn't think they were going to actually work, and he didn't really want to be babysat or policed. This is the guy who told everybody in Iron Man 1 and 2 to F off because he didn't need them in his business. And now because Peppers walked out on him and this one person confronted him with real damage, it's gotten to him, and I totally get that it's gotten to him, but it doesn't make sense as a whole because Tony Stark is the kind of person to step back and look at the big picture. Whereas, let me finish the quote, and you can jump in.
No, yeah.
And then he also said that Captain America was doing the wrong thing for the right reasons, and I agree with that. You can't harbor a criminal without some personal connection to it.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. That makes total sense. The only thing I would say, though, is Tony Stark is kind of a guy, or at least he has been portrayed as the kind of guy that once he gets convinced of something, he does not stop. Whether it is wrong or right, he goes all the way, head first. I mean, he did it in Ultron. When he was convinced that was the right thing to do, he did it. Nobody could stop him.
Yeah.
So...
That may be the only constant in his character because, in my opinion, Iron Man's character has changed so much. I think it's because he is the only character to go through 5 different directors. But...
Could be.
I'm trying to find out if Tony Stark is allowed to change this much and we still call it the same guy. Like, do you change that much over 7 years?
I mean, when you go through life-altering and almost dying, experiences, it's,
multiple times he almost died.
It can affect you. I imagine I haven't had anything, obviously, like taking
You
a
never
nuke
had
into space and falling down.
Poisoning?
No, I've never had any of that. So, I mean, obviously, it's just a guess. But I imagine that would probably affect your frame of references to the person that you are.
And that's fair. No, none of us can ever put ourselves in those shoes.
Yeah, so I don't think it's too outlandish to think that. But
okay.
While we're talking about Iron Man, how great was Robert Downey Jr. in this? Like, as far as acting, like, this was his best acted movie he's done in the MCU. The scene when he pulls the hand thing over and grabs Bucky's gun and he gets shot in the hand, and he goes, I believe that, and that was in the trailers. And when I saw that in the trailers, I was like, holy crud, he's taking this seriously. And then, there was the scene when he finds out that Bucky was the one that killed his parents and that Cap knew the whole time, and he looked like he was about to cry, and then just does the jerk move and backhands Cap. That was, again, a really great moment. And, it could be argued whether there's any real serious acting in comic book movies, but I think his performance in this movie would seal the deal. Same with Chadwick Boseman. I mean, Chadwick Boseman was great in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
The level of acting from most of the people was really, really on point this movie.
The only one I was disappointed in was Black Widow, and it's not her fault. It is not Scarlett Johansson's fault. I think this was her worst showing to date. I'm gonna skip
nothing
over.
really stood out to me. It was just, other than the fight scenes, but that's not really like.
Well, Captain
acting.
America 3 does not line up with her character in Captain America 2, and Falcon flat out calls her on that. So at least I'm not the only one sitting here thinking about that. Right. But her storyline is just meh.
No, but they did make her that's one thing the Russo brothers do well also is fight scenes and action, and they gave her that scene where they're chasing down the people and she's like flipping around, kicking people, fighting crowds. That was awesome. That was some of the best Black Widow action that we've had. Period.
I agree.
I really appreciated.
She hasn't had a really good fight scene since Iron Man 2, in my opinion. Just by herself.
Not have any in Winter Soldier?
Oh, she had some good ones, but just by herself, not working with anybody else. Just her dominating that hallway scene was pretty awesome, and so was this run in.
The
Nigeria?
chasing down the guy. No, Wakanda, I think, wasn't it? Or
Lagos.
Oh no, it wasn't Wakanda.
Okay.
It was Lagos. Yeah. Yeah, she was great, and the action was great. She was not at her best as an actress, like you said. Yeah, nothing really stood out to
Robert Downey
me.
Jr., he's played this character so many times. He doesn't always have to be Academy Award winning. He can kind of phone it in here and there, and that's what I think she was just doing. And it's not her fault. I think the best storyline she has gotten so far was in Ultron, because it developed more of her back history, and it gave her a purpose with the romance between Hulk. Aside from Avengers, she had something else to work for. So I think that was Black Widow's best personal storyline, whereas
I'd agree with that.
Okay.
I mean, she hasn't really gotten any storylines other than that, so
Yeah,
that has to be by default be her best.
I can't believe they're like, we're gonna give her a movie eventually.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kevin Feige. You're the best.
So Vision.
He was cool.
It blew my mind in this one. I was not expecting. I didn't even think after Age of Ultron that now Vision is introduced, so we get to actually see him doing stuff. And man, when he just phases through the wall at the very beginning, the first experience you see with him, and she's like, "Oh, you're supposed to come through the door."
Vision.
Right? Yeah, that was awesome, and I really loved him in this movie. I'm looking forward to seeing him more.
I want to see a casual cosplay of Vision.
Yeah, please, somebody get on that, please.
Totally.
Yeah, he was great. And then the scene when Scarlet, which you don't really know, it's never really explained what his powers are, unless you're a comic book fan, you don't really know. Right. But then when Scarlet Witch is basically manipulating him to, be super dense, which I guess is his power,
proves that
super heavy.
Both of them have an immense amount of power, and if you turn one on the other, they could take down each other with, it's a roll of the dice in that point.
Well, he has an infinity gem in his forehead, so obviously he hasn't learned how to use it yet, and he says something
or
about
how to
that.
work without it.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll see how that works out in Infinity War.
Yeah, I'm really curious about that.
Yeah,
right.
I imagine there will be a scene of Thanos ripping it out of his head. So,
by the way, this guy's supposed to be the scariest guy in the universe, and he's done nothing but sit on this floating golden toilet for 14
we
movies.
hope it's not a toilet, but there's no proof other way, one way or the other.
I don't think he's getting any
I don't see a flush
chips.
mechanism, but yeah.
Maybe he's that powerful he doesn't need it.
Maybe.
Okay, so what do you guys think of Spider-Man? Oh, by the way, Spider-Man's in it.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, I loved Spider-Man. I loved especially his corpse. Or quips, sorry. His quips, the random lines that he just says while fighting. I was like, thank you, that's Spider-Man.
Right.
I was just awesome. And I saw some things, people not liking his costume, look at Spider-Man.
It's very John Romita Jr. Yeah. The costume was pretty right off of the page, and I didn't hate the other two costumes. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield had great costumes, but this one works. I think it totally works for what they were going for.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard people say that his intro was rushed. I mean, I'm
gonna say that.
Wedged in. Yeah. But I didn't. I got that a little bit on the first viewing, but when I went and saw it the second time, it didn't feel nearly as rushed.
And maybe I need a second viewing because it felt rushed to me.
And maybe it won't help that for you personally. I mean,
that could be.
But I thought it made it feel. It felt more natural the second time we saw it.
Thing is, Spider-Man in the comics has always been very disconnected from the Avengers up until Civil War, the actual comic book in my reading history, and he was very quickly taken out of that and not used with the Avengers much, so he just doesn't feel like an Avenger. And I know having him back's a big deal for Marvel, and they get to do a lot of cool stuff now, but
well, just because he's back doesn't mean he's an Avenger. I mean, he can still be doing his own thing.
That's true.
Just because he was with the Avengers in this movie doesn't mean that he's going to be officially an Avenger. I mean, Iron Man is going to be in his solo film, but
I would be incredibly surprised if he didn't show up in Infinity War.
Oh, he'll show up in Infinity War, but I mean, even in the comic books, everybody showed up in Infinity War. So I mean, how else are you going to beat somebody that has an Infinity War?
I hope we see the Defenders. I hope we see
and
Howard
they just get instantly
the Duck.
vaporized.
I hope we see the Guardians.
We better see Howard the Duck.
And Squirrel Girl.
Better be.
They're going to need Squirrel Girl, or else who's going to beat him?
Right.
I mean, you won't see it. You'll just see him like lying on the ground after it's done and fade in from black. And Squirrel Girl and her squirrels running around, but
Tippy Toe lands the final blow.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I want to see an interaction. I want to see the Guardians interact with the Avengers.
Oh yeah, I mean, who doesn't?
I can't wait for that because I loved the Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought that movie was amazingly done.
It was really
and
well done.
And all the characters played pretty perfectly in my mind. So I want to see them interact. I can't wait for that.
I'm absolutely. I agree with you on that. I don't know that we're going to get as much like interaction between them as we want, simply because they're going to have 60 something characters in the movie, 70 something characters in the movie.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we all want to see Rocket Raccoon and Tony Stark banter, at each other about building stuff, and Rocket Raccoon telling Tony Stark his suit is so primitive and like trying to fix it for him and stuff. But chances are that's probably, I mean, maybe like a throwaway scene, but really is.
I want to watch Star-Lord hit on everybody, and he gets to Black Widow, and she punches him.
I want to see Tony Stark disappoint Gamora.
Yes,
sexually.
Yeah, sexually. I think that would be a great throwback to the comics. But I'd rather see when we're talking these interactions, I'd rather see like a Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 where Tony Stark is in a spacesuit and goes out to
That'd be good.
Visit them. That would be better, I think, because then we get more actual interaction. This movie is just going to be packed.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. I think as the movies go on, you may see more interaction because you'll see crossovers. Like you said, Iron Man's going to be is supposed to be in Spider-Man, and all the different characters.
The Hulk is supposed to be in Thor Ragnarok.
Exactly. So the different interactions that we're going to get in the various solo films, I think, could not necessarily make or break the movies, but they're definitely going to be a focal point.
Well, it's a way for Marvel to bring in more money, because I mean, the more heroes you have in a film, on the Marvel side at least, you're guaranteed to have more money, and that's proven time and time again. I mean, this movie is going to break the record probably for the highest grossing Marvel movie.
$700 million in 4 days.
In 4 days, and it's at 90% on Rotten Tomatoes right now, which I don't put a lot of stock in that, but it was 90% earlier today when I looked, and so it's going to make a ton of money, and it already has. So
right. So how do you guys feel about Bucky, Winter Soldier, whatever you want to call him, going back to being in like this cryogenic state?
I think it's fine. I think it's kind of necessary from a story standpoint, because as long as he's around, people can manipulate him. Those books still exist. There's going to be people that know how to eat him, manipulate him now.
But he didn't get to eat his plum.
No, he never did. That was actually a very sad moment.
Yeah.
Just so you guys know, it's really cute that he bought plums because plums actually help with your memory. And Bucky was trying to remember stuff. And it's so sad he didn't get to eat it.
No, that's obviously why the whole movie happened.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if he had just eaten that plum, everything would have been avoided.
Yeah, should have just eat it while he walked.
Yeah. I thought the way they incorporated the arm being blown off is good because they have their arm chopped off or removed in some way in every Marvel movie that's made now.
Do.
So very Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've seen that meme and it's pretty funny. But
and plus he's lost his arm before.
Yeah, so it's just gonna get reattached. I mean, he's in Wakanda. You could get a vibranium upgrade or something.
Nice.
That would be awesome.
I want to see a Black Panther Winter Soldier team up in the Black Panther movie. That would be pretty cool.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Since he's already in Wakanda, maybe they can show in that movie that he's kind of fixed the memory thing.
That could be.
Wakanda has a ton of money, so they could invest.
Do you think they'll bring him back for Infinity War?
I'm sure they will. Yeah, I mean they're going to use every piece of their property that they can, and maybe not the TV people because the TV people are on such a weird timeline compared to the movies.
Well, they were betting on bringing in the Inhumans, and they've dropped the Inhumans movie. So
they'll add it back into the schedule, but it's going to be later, I'm sure.
Yeah,
they're not going to just let that go. They've already set up all the Inhumans and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so they're not going to. Whether you agree with how they've done it or don't agree with how they've done it, it's there and it exists. So that's they're in the Marvel universe. Exploring that further, I think, is kind of necessary at this point. Who doesn't want to see Black Bolt and Medusa and all these other...
do.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, come on.
I want to do a Medusa cosplay like crazy.
You
500 red wigs just everywhere.
It would be interesting.
Oh, I want to see Lockjaw.
Yeah.
I mean, name it.
Who doesn't want to see that guy?
Yeah, I mean...
Giant telepathic dog. Let's do this.
Right?
And I'm sure we'll see it. It's just getting pushed back. I mean, it'll probably be like a Phase 5 movie or whatever after Infinity War Part 2, and they're rebuilding the universe and need their X-Men to be there, and that's what they're going to do.
So rumors about Civil War were circulating for, the last 2 years since they announced it. What did you guys expect going in that didn't happen, or...
Should we bring this thing up before we get too deep into it?
Oh, yeah.
You might want to.
Sure. Did you guys put in the code word yet? Have you done that? There was a code word from last week. You had to watch the code word. If anybody is going crazy right now just typing a word, it's that word. So you should type it too.
Chances are, yeah. So anytime during this podcast.
Oh, why? Because we're giving away the Black Panther.
Right. Walmart
Thanks,
exclusive.
Derek. You can talk.
I was just trying not to interrupt, Let me do your thing.
All right. I got your back, Derek.
Thanks.
You're the reason Derek didn't want to be on tonight.
You know what?
I was talking about it.
It is what it is. I'm on and he isn't.
Anyway, rumors.
Rumors? Well, I did hear rumors. Oh, well, they're going to kill off Captain America.
Well, that's how it happened in the comic book, so everybody thought that's what they were going to do.
And as much as I actually kind of liked how they did Crossbones, I mean, he was very short-lived. But,
right.
I mean, I thought for that short time frame, he was done all right, but I'm actually glad they didn't kill off Captain America. Mm-hmm. I like how they worked it in the end with him, but I'm just, you don't have to incorporate everything from the comics.
Yeah.
You don't have to make Bucky Captain America for a time, or currently Falcon as Captain America for a time. You don't have to do that. They may do something else. Who knows? But I'm glad they didn't kill off Steve Rogers.
When we watched the movie the first time, one of your big complaints was that the movie was too dark, or darker than you expected. Something along those lines. You didn't like that it left you feeling like you didn't feel good when you came out of the movie. Yeah,
because I felt like this changed the scope of the MCU, and it's going to take a lot for the Avengers to be friends again. Friend betrayed friend here. And
yeah. But I think that's what they were going for, and the whole point that I'm coming back to here is if they had killed off Captain America, then that would have probably made it even darker. Even though nobody really dies in the MCU, they always come back.
I feel like a death would have brought him back, though. Brought the group together.
It probably would have brought Yeah, it probably would have. That's true. But anytime you end on a funeral scene, it's going to be dark. And they're not going to, the movie is not going to continue for 30 minutes after Captain America dies.
Here's my other complaints about it. I felt it had, like, Return of the King, 7 solid endings. Scene after scene kept happening. And I was like, you could have ended it here. Or here.
It wasn't quite as bad as Return of the King. I never really felt that way, but there were several points that it could have ended on. Now that you brought it up, I can see it. But
there were logical closure
Return of the King was like, all right, is this a joke now? Is this still happening? Whereas this movie, it wasn't that irritating for me, at least for me personally.
No, I agree. But you're right. There were a lot of scenes that, that's a closure scene.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Do you like the fact that Captain America sent Tony Stark the phone and was like, if you need me, bro, I'll be there. I'm sorry.
No, the phone was dumb. I thought it didn't make sense for Captain America. I thought, Captain America is not some will-o'-the-wisp. Like, he's not just gone with the wind.
Yeah, Tony Stark has all the technology in the world.
He will find you. He has satellites. He has S.H.I.E.L.D. and the U.S. government's behind him, and the UN's behind him now. Like, he will find you, Cap. Don't worry. You don't need to hand him a burner phone.
You probably won't need Iron Man to get a hold of him when Thanos comes down, but,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say I either liked it or disliked it.
It was just there.
Yeah, it was just kind of there because I was like, oh, okay. And just the look on Stark's face was just like, all right, yeah, because we may disagree, we may have issues, but in the end, we're still friends.
I think that's what they were trying to do, was that they left it, like you said, it would. If you ended it with, like, Captain America, leaving his shield chopped into Iron Man's arc reactor and sticking out of his armor.
That was dark right there.
That was awesome. Like, see, my thought was, so you go through this whole movie and you know that they're pulling punches. People are pulling punches. It's joked about in the movie and everything like that. But that scene made you go, all right, they are not pulling punches. Is he going to kill Iron Man? I mean, logically, I know he's not going to, but in that moment, I'm like, he could freaking, like, chop off Iron Man's head with that shield right now.
There was a couple times where I thought Iron Man could have gotten close to killing Cap, too.
They were both going for blood. I mean, it was... But I thought that, yes, it was dark, but, I mean, they definitely wanted to have this be something that we hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
And I think that they succeeded, and it was dark, but it was a darkness that was okay. There was still some levity in the movie that kind of offset it.
Right.
The ending was a heck of a way to end it, because it's, but you guys didn't get to see the last end credit scene.
No, because it was not in.
It wasn't on the preview showing.
The preview showing.
But that was
a
little bit lighter way. That was a little bit lighter way to end it. It's basically, if you haven't seen it, it's Spider-Man, like, sitting in his room, in his bedroom, and he's, like, playing with this web shooter that Tony Stark made for him or whatever, and he, like, presses a button and you see, like, red light shoot out onto the ceiling, and it makes, like, the spider call or whatever that was from the comic books, like the Spider-Man face, and it's got, like, shield or some kind of, like, technical script around it or something. And
cute.
It was, and it said Spider-Man will return. Like, it faded to black that Spider-Man will return afterwards. So, that was... We know Spider-Man's going to return. Everybody's raving about him. Of course he's going to come back. But that was... it was a nice little lighter note to leave the note on. Or leave the movie on. Rather than the,
Well, the Black Panther scene was really awesome. Just from that little scene alone, I want to see Wakanda more.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. Yeah, and that statue was cool. I mean, isn't in the comic book, isn't that like a defense mechanism too? It's not just like a statue. Yeah. It's like a robot that, like...
It's their totem, and it's a protector.
I thought I read somewhere that it, like, had guns and stuff in it that would, like, pop out. I could be totally misinformed.
I don't recall that, but
I don't follow Black Panther either, so
I'm not going to disagree, because comic book writers do weird things.
It was probably like one-off comic book in, like, 82 that did this.
It was done by Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, it could be anybody. But. I would love to see that. Make it a Transformer, I'm good with
Beast
that.
Wars!
Yeah. Or like Power Rangers, where Black Panther's inside, like, it's a Dragon Zord, a Cat Zord, or whatever.
Now I just want to quote Venture Brothers.
There you go.
Mecha Shiva.
They should do that. Marvel, if you're listening, I do take money to pay for my ideas, so I'm sure they're listening.
Like all of us.
Right.
Indeed.
All right, so next up is Doctor Strange.
It is.
And how's that going to connect? So we've got some really cool.
I don't think it's going to. Like, I mean,
Are
you
you
talked
okay
about
with
that
that?
you don't. You talked about that you don't think they can make a solo Marvel movie anymore.
I feel
think
like
Doctor Strange is going to be a solo
random
Marvel
person
movie.
is going to show up in this film for their 5 minutes of cameo time.
I think if it is, it's going to be like, I don't know. I want to say it would be one of the Defenders or something like that, because Doctor Strange in the comic books was a Defender.
Well,
and
if it's going to be an Avenger, I feel like Tony is the closest because they're both in New York.
Yeah, but you can't just put Tony Stark in everything.
I know, he's
There's
in
an overload.
everything.
I want to see Iron Fist.
Vision.
You know, I want to see Iron Fist in there. You know, show up and you know, I don't know. Just don't throw one of the other guys.
I think if you see somebody, it's going to be at the end.
Yeah, or there will be like
Honestly.
a vision or something
Yeah.
that he has. Not the vision, but a vision that he has. Or
Well,
something
Martin
from the
Freeman
Avengers.
was originally cast for Doctor Strange. He was not cast for Age of Ultron. So there's Civil War. So there's a connection right there.
Yeah, when I'm thinking like connections, I'm more thinking about the heroes. I mean,
Right.
you can throw any random. You could throw Phil Coulson in there, and it's like okay.
Well, they can't
Yeah.
anymore.
Well, I
Because
mean,
the Avengers don't know he's alive.
yeah, but he's not an Avenger yet. So I mean,
Coulson?
no. Well, Coulson is an Avenger, but Doctor Strange doesn't know
Right.
that he's or know anything about that. He's not a Defender, so
Yeah.
or an Avenger. Jeez, I am getting all mixed up.
Me.
I'm all over the place tonight, guys. Sorry about that.
Okay, so it was really weird to hear Martin Freeman speak with a
Yeah, it was
American
like-
accent.
It was,
I don't think I've ever heard him talk with an American
It wasn't as
accent.
bad as like hearing Daniel Radcliffe in Horns or whatever that movie was, where he was like had this weird like Southern accent. And I was, after seeing him in Harry Potter for like all those years, and then
His whole life.
yeah, it was very unnerving. But it was still Martin Freeman was a
He's
little
a
better
good
than that.
actor. I'm not upset about it.
It was definitely weird though. Yeah, I
It's
got what you're
off-putting.
saying.
Like, I don't know.
No, I'm with you.
I'm nervous for Benedict Cumberbatch too because
Well,
hearing
haven't
his
we
American accent.
We've seen, or we've heard him speak in the trailer, I guess. Not a lot, like, monologues or anything, but...
That's true.
And it wasn't bad, so...
Yeah, I think he'll be all right.
It'll probably be weird, like, because for people that watch a lot of his stuff, you know, but...
He looks insanely good.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, more as a character, he looks very good.
Yes.
He looks very much like Dr.
Oh, no.
Strange.
I am not physically attracted to Benedict
I'm
Cumberbatch.
not implying that. You just said he looks really good. I don't know.
He looks like the mid-form of an Animorph transformation, like right in the middle on the
Wow,
cover.
that is mean.
Okay.
All right. Well, the Marvel people that were watching are now not watching. Thanks, Rachel.
No,
But his costume looks...
the
looks
Sherlock
incredible.
fangirls will never trust
That's
me
right.
again.
Yeah.
That's all.
His fangirls will not.
They're insane.
But his costume is probably one of the most accurate costumes that we've seen to the comic book.
They made it
It's
not
modernized
look
a little
cheesy.
bit. Like his collar isn't above his head,
Right.
you know. So I mean, it's not 100% accurate, but it's still very accurate. All the colors are there, but they're muted.
Yeah.
You know, I like it a lot. I can't wait to see it in action in the movie.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I agree.
One thing that I'm going to say on Civil War while we're talking about it before we
Yeah.
go too far away,
No, you're
the
good. Go
freaking
for it.
text overlays.
That is terrible.
God, Russo brothers, I loved your movie, but man, that's so bad.
Put
It
in
hurt
the
my
corner.
eyes.
Put it in the corner. I can
Please,
still tell.
I don't need to see like the whole
Yeah,
screen
that
taken
was-
up by queens. I mean, that was great, but jeez, come on.
That was pretty bad. I'm like,
That was the
Okay.
most irritating part of the whole movie
Thank
for
you.
me.
Yeah,
it was brutal.
too. It was a
hurt
very
my eyes.
poor direction.
although there was one more irritation, a slight irritation, which I'm having a brain for right now. Can't remember his name, but the main villain,
Baron Zemo. Well, Zemo.
I don't
Zemo.
remember his
Zemo.
rating.
Zemo. Yeah, Zemo.
I don't remember his
I-
real name.
I was
the
like,
actor's name.
I until I heard his name, I had no idea who he was.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there going, okay, this is just some guy. Oh, Zemo.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
Zemo.
Are you sure?
Here's the nice thing
Okay.
about Zemo in this movie was that he isn't dead.
True.
He can come back and he can form any kind of groups of supervillains that he wants to combat the Avengers.
Very true.
Only if he gets the purple suit.
Well,
That
I think
purple
didn't he
suit
have
is
like a
brilliant.
purple? Didn't he have like a purple beanie on or something at some point? I was like, okay,
I
is
don't
that as
know, I
close as
didn't
we're gonna
look.
get? But and see, on my first viewing of the movie, we didn't really talk about the villains, so this is good that we got.
Yeah,
this.
yeah, definitely.
On my first viewing of the movie, I thought he was kind of another Marvel cheap villain, but the second
Right.
viewing, he definitely got better for me, and the motivation was more there, and he was more in the story for Black Panther, I feel like, than he was for anything else.
Right.
he was a decent villain. I thought the actor, I'm blanking on his name, but he did really well portraying the character. And
I think he was all right, and I think it's smart that they did not kill off another villain. So
they killed off every other one.
We only have 3 villains still alive if you don't count Robert Redford. And that is Loki, that is Abomination, and that is now Zemo.
Yeah.
You combine those 3, it would
Red
be
Skull, we don't know for sure that he's
up
dead.
in the air. We know that
but-
Hugo Weaving has no intention of ever
Right.
coming back, so they could fill somebody else in and maybe
They
get
could pull
him
it Back to the Future too, and just use his life cast and everything to make him
Ooh.
look like make somebody look like it.
That's terrible.
Well, I don't think that the law passed or anything, so they could do it.
Anyway, I think Robert Redford did a better job at being menacing. Because even from the beginning of Winter Soldier, I was like, this guy's bad news. He's got too much power in his pockets right now.
Yeah.
But Baron Zemo has better motivation, clearly.
Definitely.
Like, there's no reason... I think Robert Redford was a better villain, but I think Baron Zemo's character was, I guess, had more potential for it, and it can go on to be better and better.
I think he was just a supplemental villain. He was like, I mean,
Well,
obviously the conflict was between the heroes, and at the end he kind of supplemented Tony Stark.
He was just trying to
Fighting.
ignite a fire that
Yeah.
was already there.
Yeah.
So I mean, but he was a supplemental villain, but he was the one that actually incited the real Civil War, which was
Right.
not about the Accords. It was about the murder of the mom.
Yeah.
Just like another movie that came out this year, but
Murder of the mom.
well, the mom story.
The Marthas.
We're not going to get into that, I promise you. But yeah, I mean, it was. See, he was betting on the fact the whole time that Iron Man was a hothead and that he would let his emotions take over. And I thought that was another part that I didn't really love, was that Tony Stark kind of like was responsible for everything that's happening right now, because of Ultron and Sokovia was because of him.
Yeah.
And he was doing the Accords out of that
Even
responsibility.
though everybody told him no. Like, Bruce Banner
Everybody
said,
told him
the
no.
freaking Hulk is like, probably shouldn't do this, bro.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Hulk who is responsible for millions of damage. No.
And, Tony Stark should understand people not being in control of their own brain at this point. In the first Avengers movie, Hawkeye was
Hawkeye's been
screwed.
manipulated.
And he's
Scarlet
worked with him
Witch
since
and
then. So they
Quicksilver
know
manipulated.
he's worked with all those people since then, so he should know that happens. And I thought the fact that he just went instant rage mode was a little... I mean, you could argue it, but I think that was kind of dumb, and that he should have
I think it makes
known
sense
better.
for instant, because we all have...
He should have gone to the point. It made sense that he goes to the point of basically ripping off Bucky's arm and almost killing Captain America. I mean, seems like an extreme
No,
reaction.
I think
to
at
kill
that point
somebody
he
you know
should have
that well.
stopped, and it should have been like a reflection. Like, what did I just do?
Yeah,
This is
after-
not me.
Yeah,
After-
but
yeah.
it wasn't, and that was a fault in the movie. The movie, like you guys said, was not perfect. I do
No.
probably put it at the top of right now. I put it at the top of my MCU rankings. In a week, that might change.
That's fair.
But it just
Give it time to
I like.
digest.
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of the other movies a lot. You're comparing like your favorite kids or whatever. You don't really have a favorite. They're all just
I think now I'm gonna start ranking them individually, solo films versus the ensemble ones, because honestly, I feel like it's not fair to compete a lot of them together.
It is hard to
necessarily.
compare a movie like this, even though it was a Captain America movie. It was hard to compare like something like this to like the original Iron
Yeah.
Man. It's very difficult.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That's why actually before this movie I kind of stopped comparing them. Kind of like you said, kind of gotta. If you're going to, you might want to section them off a little bit, but yeah, I've stopped comparing them just because they're different.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Yeah.
different enough to where they're all part of the same universe. So
So if you guys are comparing ensemble films to ensemble films, would you put this above Guardians?
No,
definitely not.
Really?
I put.
All right.
I will give you this. I think it is better than the first Avengers now. It's
Arguably.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, anybody can argue any of these.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm more talking about like in terms of my
The
favorites
Avengers
or your
was a
favorites,
nerd
not better
dream come
movies.
true, something nobody ever thought was ever going to happen, so that it holds a bit of nostalgia that I
think that's why a lot of people are putting it higher than this movie, because I think technically, if you watch the movie with a more technical eye and you like actually look for faults from a movie,
there are so many plot loopholes
really...
and like bad CGI that got away from him and mistakes.
But yeah, you get the nostalgia factor.
This punching bag has a ton of duct tape, and this one doesn't. How did they both get there? Yeah, just small things that could have been kept an eye on if like the assistant director was doing his job.
Well, they were probably all like, "Holy crud, we have Batman." Maybe they had Batman, I don't know. But no, they had Captain America and Thor and all these people in the same movie, and they never thought that would happen. But, it's... So the nostalgia is fair, but I do think that if you look at it from, like...
And it was definitely more fun.
Movie perspective.
It was a much more fun movie from start to finish.
Well, this movie was definitely dark.
The serious aspects of the first Avengers were prominent threats, but at the same time, it was a bright, happy colored food.
And even in the middle of like this huge battle that was killing thousands of people, they were joking. You know,
was so great.
Yeah, it was, I mean, you overlook that stuff with certain movies, so it's it's fine. But I'm glad you're seeing that now. Because I think at the beginning of this podcast you were saying that it was better than
I don't know. Maybe tomorrow I'll go back again. But right now, talking about the film, it was good and I enjoyed it. I love the Marvel films. I'm a Marvel girl. I always have been. I guess I felt like the overhype of it, the fact that it wasn't even out and Rotten Tomatoes had a 100% on it. I mean, based off of 4 critics' reviews, felt crappy to me. It felt awful. I was like,
well, especially
Marvel.
Coming off, we're not going to get heavy into this, but especially coming off another movie that you were looking forward to that had that, and then it went way down.
Right,
you know.
So my issues is that we underestimate DC, and then we trash talk it for its faults. We overhype Marvel, and Marvel's not...
They're not infallible. They can make a bad movie, and
they
probably will happen at some point.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, I mean, Iron Man 2 wasn't great, but it was... I've seen a lot worse comic book
comparing
movies.
them all together. You compare the Marvel films to themselves only, I feel like they have 6 solid, amazing films, and everything else is just filler here and there to connect stories. And they are not bad movies. I don't think they've ever made trash. I don't think DC has ever made trash. I think they've just done different things at different times. And
you saw Batman Forever, right?
You saw Batman and Robin.
You saw Batman and Robin, right? I mean, I feel like that's a bold statement.
Not sober.
All right, well, that's better. No wonder you didn't think they were trash.
Honestly, I think really it's the track record. Mm-hmm. Because DC has more movies that are considered subpar. It's not necessarily, well, other than, one that I can think of, Batman and Robin, none of them are truly trash.
Yeah.
But, they have a lot of issues. Green Lantern, a lot of issues.
Right.
But it wasn't a bad movie, per se, in my opinion. Opinions vary. But for comic book fans, it just had too many issues.
I thought Daredevil and Ghost Rider were much worse films, and they both got a sequel and a spin-off. So... then Green Lantern, by the way. Green Lantern.
I actually liked the first Ghost Rider. That's kind of one of my guilty
pleasures.
pleasures.
It's a guilty pleasure, too, for me. I enjoyed that movie.
I liked it because
it was
of
so
Wes
cheesy.
Bentley.
I liked it because of Nicolas Cage, and he just went full Bruce Campbell when he was doing the transformation into Ghost Rider.
He went full Nick Cage.
I have to voice in here. If Sam Elliott had stayed with them to the final battle instead of just randomly leaving at the end.
I can't do this with you. My horse is tired.
Why would you use your last ride for that montage and not for the battle?
Because it was a great montage.
It was a good montage.
It was a good montage, but how awesome would that have been?
That would have been awesome.
But then it would have been 2 Ghost Riders, and you're like, come on.
No, I would have.
How many Ghost Riders are there now?
I don't know.
Come on.
There's a lot. There's at least 6 or 7.
Yeah, so that's...
Yeah, we're not going to dig into Ghost Rider lore here, okay, guys? But
my God, which Ghost Rider is better?
Yeah, I mean,
that's gonna.
You can make good points. I think that right now it's cool to hate DC, and it's cool to be really excited about Marvel movies.
And that's just it. I want things to balance out. I want people to cut DC more slack. When they get 14 movies under their belt, then you can talk. They have 2.
They probably have 14 if you count all their other previous movies.
But that's not their universe that they're working with now. So 7 years, we can be super hyped about it. Like, just cut them some slack. And I want people to be more critical of Marvel. They will have flaws. I guarantee you Phase 3 is not going to play out as perfectly as they want it to. There will be a misstep here and there.
Yeah. So a lot of people, like, decided to not listen to critics or whatever anymore after Batman v Superman, the DC fans, and that's fine, and you're allowed to do that. But I think those same critics that were digging into Batman v Superman, a lot of the ones, at least the ones I watch, Screen Junkies, Collider, a lot of those guys that do YouTube movie reviews and stuff as a podcast, kind of like this, they were very critical of Civil War. Did they love it? Yeah, they did. But I mean, it's not like they were pulling punches.
Screen Junkies has always been really fair. I think that's the only one that we watch that overlaps. But
I don't look at Rotten Tomatoes or anything like that really anymore.
IGN is pretty fair too. So
there are fair reviews out there. I think for me, it's like you just got to pick and choose the critics that you generally agree with, and if you're reading their article or watching their video and their stuff's accurate, then take it for what it's worth. But if you're just reading Rotten Tomatoes scores, it's not worth it because it's always going to be.
I may be kind of bad because I stopped listening to critics a long time ago, before comic book movies. We're talking like when I was a kid. I'm like, I just stopped.
I like discussions about the movies and generally those like online videos, like the ones I mentioned, they'll. You get some discussion in there, and I do like they might pick up things that I don't pick up on and things like that. That's the only reason why I really watch them at this point.
Open discussions about movies I'm good with, but like critic reviews.
Yeah, I don't really read a lot of reviews. Most of the ones I watch are discussion reviews.
Yeah, okay,
that's fair. All right, so we're about at the 10-minute mark. We're gonna wrap it down. Favorite part about Civil War?
Probably the ending with Black Panther when he's like, "I would not let vengeance consume me," and he stops Zemo from grabbing the gun. I thought that was really a good wrap up for his character.
Favorite part?
This is tough because there were actually a lot of good parts in the movie. I'm not gonna lie, but if I was forced to pick one, I'd go for the cheese. It was the end when Steve basically breaks into the prison.
Nice.
And you don't show him breaking all of them out,
but it's implied.
It's implied. Come on,
the cheesy smile he gives when he sees Falcon, like,
bro, you're my bro.
You're my bro.
And so, and he's not going to leave he's not going to leave Wanda sitting there in a straitjacket. I mean, come on.
That was rough.
That was brutal.
That was dark.
Even Tony, the look on his face, because as we said, Robert Downey Jr. acted really good in this one. He's a good actor, but when he looked at Wanda, you could just see, in his eyes almost, he was like
5 minutes ago, she was my friend.
Yeah.
That was intense.
What about yours?
I
put you on the spot. You are the one that asked us.
About it. The airport.
You're gonna say
scene.
Giant Man, yeah?
No. Not just because of that. Scarlet showing her powers, Vision showing the extent of his, Black Widow doing what she thinks is right, and electrocuting Black Panther.
Repeatedly.
Apparently, vibranium was conductive. We heard that this movie.
Giant Man appearing and Scott Lang being super quippy and cute.
He was great. Paul Rudd is a very close second for my favorite part of the movie. I love that we have him in the MCU
now. My favorite part of his is actually the part where he's in the jail and he's like, Hank Pym always said you can never trust a Stark. Who are you?
And he's like, come on, man.
Come on.
The very Star-Lord of him.
Yes.
Okay, part you would change. Actual story, not the letters.
Oh, that was going to be my go-to. I probably would have made the motivations more authentic instead of just being, Iron Man was wanting to get Pepper back, so he saw the Accords as a way to do that. And, it's less personal and more based in ethics.
Okay, how about you?
I don't know if I could top your, because you actually put a good finger on it, just right there. But
that's fair. It's fair to say the same thing.
I don't know if I could come up with a better one in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just because that was good. How about you?
What about you, Rachel?
The Sharon Carter romance I felt was unnecessary.
It's a little awkward. It's like I was making out with your aunt, but here, let's make out real quick.
To me, it was just like 5 years ago.
It was like 100 years ago, but that's okay because she's dead now.
I still saw her like once a week. Like,
yeah,
we hung out.
Her old self. I just hung out with her.
You know, they did kind of play off of how it is a little silly because he's like, all right, well, I waited too long. Well, because it's like, really?
Well, the reason why I don't like it is because I honestly have always thought that Captain America and Scarlet Witch should be together. I know a ton of people love her and Vision, but and they're great, they really are. But she kills him a couple times, so I figured go with somebody you haven't murdered.
Can I change my my thing? I would change.
No.
You can have that one. Don't give Sharon Carter the freaking "you move" speech that Cap had in the comic books. That was a character-defining moment. It was one of my favorite panels from the Civil War comic books. I completely forgot about that. Gosh, I appreciated that they put it in the movie, but that in the comic books was a character-defining moment for Captain America. And I think if they had that in the movie, it would have made a huge difference.
That's a very good one.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right.
Back to your regularly scheduled program.
If you guys didn't know, and you're just tuning in, which is weird, why would you tune in at the end? We've been promising to give away this glitter pop vinyl. This
Onyx, not glitter.
Sorry. This Wal-Mart Black Panther Onyx Wakandan pop vinyl.
That?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sorry. For like the last 4 weeks. So tonight we're finally giving it away. I have been told by our director, Derek, that we have a winner. Are you guys ready? It is Twitch user Pugbite. Adorable name. I assume you were bitten by a radioactive pug and now you're useless.
Hopefully
I don't
Tony Stark
know.
gets you a suit.
So
He just has breathing issues.
Yeah,
that's what
does he snarfle and snort?
Yeah, exactly.
I love the noises they make. It's adorable.
Oh, perfect. He's going to be your favorite superhero.
I love asthmatic dogs. Anyway, contact us. You can do it via Twitch. You can send us a private message there. Derek says that's the way he wants, but we are also connected on social media. You can send us a DM on Twitter. You can send us a PM on Facebook. I can give you his personal phone number.
I can get you a social, too, if you need that.
He has like 10 credit cards.
Yeah, we can get you all this information. Just ask.
Blood type. That's not true. I don't have his blood type.
But everything else is real.
I'm working on it. All right, guys. So next week, we will be hanging out once again. We're doing Thundercats recast.
Jeez, I should probably start on that.
Right? Or not a recast, fan cast. We're going to fan cast a Thundercats movie. No, we're not. What are we doing?
Not next week.
What are we doing next week?
That's coming up, so wait for that.
Next week is art influencing art.
Okay.
The following week is the Thundercats fan cast.
Good, I have 2
All
weeks.
right, so the art influencing art is my deal. It's basically movies taking from comic books that comic books are now taking from movies. You know, we had Civil War, now we have a Civil War movie, and
we have Civil War 2 in the
and
comic
comics
books.
are doing Civil War 2 just to connect with the movie. So we're going to focus on a lot about that. We'll talk some more Civil War. We'll talk other comic books. We'll talk about books and movies in general. So
Hargis 34 would like to say that she loves your face, Rachel.
Aww, I'm going to put my face next to your face and we can face smush.
That's not awkward at all. Random person on the internet.
She's not random. She's like my bestie.
All right.
Okay, well, that makes more sense.
So, thank you so much for joining us.
My
I
pleasure.
hope you come back.
Oh, definitely.
If people want to get a hold of you, is there a fan page or Twitter you don't mind giving out to the public? Or if not,
actually,
you don't have to?
Yeah, Facebook, Robert McCullough.
There you go.
You can. That's probably the easiest way. You get a hold of me, and because honestly, I don't have my other social media memorized.
No worries. What are you doing for Planet Comic Con? What are your costumes?
Well, I am going to be doing a new costume that I put together. The Vigilante, Greg Sanders version.
Nice.
So I'm going to be all cowboy. And I'm don't know if I'm going to do my arsenal.
Okay.
And my brother has other things, so we probably won't do the Blues Brothers this year, which is kind of sad because we get that's always fun.
That's really popular.
And I don't know, I may be doing my 50s era because it's ready. So I might go ahead and just wear it because I don't know. Talk about the group?
Yeah, go for it. Why not?
The 50s era superheroes and villains group, I am doing a biker arsenal.
That's really cool.
I may be bringing him out for Planet 2.
Nice. I'm doing Zatanna, only I'm doing her pretty much as if she was Rizzo from Grease. So
that'd be awesome.
Thank you. I'm really excited for it. I'm gonna have the little scarf to the side, and I'm gonna be just a giant bee
You're gonna
all
sing
day
the whole time.
You know it.
Gosh, I am gonna drop out of this group right now.
Okay, Ryan. How can people get a hold of you?
Buster Props on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff.
What are you doing for PCC?
I am doing Punisher from Netflix show.
Nice.
And hopefully my 3D printed armored Jedi I'll be wearing there.
Cool. You gonna bust out the old Daredevil too?
No.
Oh, you totally should. You should stand next to John and his new Daredevil.
No. I might wear Burt Macklin. I don't know what I'm going to do the third day. We'll see.
Burt Macklin. That's great. All right. So, of course, I'm Ray from the Super Sirens. You can contact me in any Super Sirens email or Facebook or Twitter. Instagram, too. Also, Grid Daily. That's who we are. We're griddaily.com. We're at grid_daily or at grid daily on most of the social medias. If you can't get a hold of us, go to griddaily.com and we will get you the proper links from there. Thank you so much for joining us. Yell at us about how we hated Civil War and we did terrible time talking. And
Please don't do that.
Don't
if you
do
do,
that.
Rachel is the one to yell at.